You know, every single time you go online, you're leaving behind little pieces of your digital self. But have you ever stopped to ask who actually owns that identity? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating new concept called ENTIFY. It's pitched as a kind of digital identity firewall, and it's aiming to completely flip the script on who holds the keys to your online life.
So to really get what ENTIFY is about, you've got to see the world in these two opposing models. On one side, you've got the system we live in right now. It's built for big institutions, right? It collects, scores, and monitors your data by default. But on the other side, you have the ENTIFY model. This system is built for you, the individual. Your identity is treated like private property, and it's only shared when you explicitly say so. We're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in who's in control.
So why is something like this even necessary? Well, it's because there's this huge global trend happening right under our noses, the creation of what some are calling the world's new identity grid.
I mean, think about it. Every flight you take, every time you buy something online, every message you send, it's all being pushed towards a single, centralized digital ID. And this isn't some sci-fi future. Governments and big companies are building this infrastructure as we speak, trying to funnel every part of our lives into one single, verifiable system.
And here's the real kicker with that trend. The systems we use today, they were never, ever designed for us. They were built for institutions so they could collect and score our data. A lot of the time, they can identify you just from your device or your browser before you've even typed in your name. In that world, your privacy wasn't just a low priority, it was basically an afterthought.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the answer? Well, this is where this idea of a personal digital firewall comes into play. It's a totally different way of thinking about how to protect who you are online. The name itself, ENTIFY, kind of gives you the core concept. It's all about creating an entity, and the source material defines this in a pretty profound way. It's about treating your identity as a cryptographically secured living being. So it's not just a bunch of data points in some server farm. It's a protected digital extension of you.
And this is a really crucial distinction. ENTIFY isn't trying to be just another digital ID you have to manage. As the source says, it's a shield. It's a barrier that you put up between your personal, private identity and all those global systems that want to track it.
The philosophy here is actually pretty straightforward. You can't just opt out of the modern world and go hide in a cabin somewhere. True digital freedom, according to this view, doesn't come from being invisible. It comes from owning and controlling the interface, that shield, through which the world interacts with you.
So how does this shield actually work? What's the technology that makes it all possible? Let's take a look inside what they call the identity vault. Okay, so the heart of this whole system is something called the identity vault. The best way to think about it is like a personal digital Fort Knox, a super secure cryptographic container where you store all your identity documents, your keys, your signatures. It's designed to be a complete black box, which means nobody but you can see inside or even know how it works.
And this vault doesn't work alone. It's part of a whole ecosystem. You've got the ENTI card, which is a physical hardware key, something you actually hold in your hand that makes sure only you can get into your vault. Then there's the ENTI phone for secure communication. And this is really important. There's a legal layer, which basically creates a private legal persona, like a trust, that can interact with institutions for you.
All right, so that's the tech, which is cool. But how do you actually use this stuff in your day-to-day life? How do you engage with the world without constantly having to expose your private information?
Now, this is where the strategy gets really clever. The goal here isn't to fight government ID systems or try to replace them. No, the idea is to neutralize them. By changing the way you interact with these systems, you can basically make their tracking and data collection useless when it comes to your personal privacy.
So how in the world does that work? It's a pretty simple four-step process. First, you take your government ID, and you accept it, just once. Second, you immediately lock it away in your private identity vault. Now third, when some institution needs to verify something, say your age to buy a drink, you provide a cryptographic proof. It's called a zero-knowledge proof, and it's amazing. It lets you prove a fact like, yes, I am over 21, without revealing the actual data like your birthday. And finally, you interact with everyone through that private legal layer we talked about.
So what's the result of all this? Well, the outcome, as the source boldly puts it, is that you become the world's first truly private digital human. Your public, trackable self is replaced by this cryptographic proxy that only you control, and the ability for these big systems to build a profile on you just collapses.
But what happens when lots of people start doing this? Well, the vision here is way bigger than just personal protection. It's about using all of these secure individual entities to build an entirely new kind of network,
one that is fundamentally owned by its users.
And that's the key takeaway. This isn't just a product. It's being pitched as the foundation for a whole new global infrastructure, a network for communication, for business, for everything, that's built on trust between verified private people, not on surveillance from some central company or government.
And a network like that would have some absolutely massive benefits. I mean, think about it. If every single participant is a cryptographically verified real human, you could just eliminate some of the biggest problems we have online today. No more bots, no impersonators, no identity theft, no fake accounts. It creates a high-trust environment by its very nature.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this really powerful idea. The system gives you the tools, the structure, the protection, the tech, but the actual power, the sovereignty over your own identity, that stays with you. It's a tool that you wield, not a system that controls you.
And that leaves all of us with a pretty fundamental question. As our world gets more and more digital, the battle to own and control identity is only going to get more intense. So the choice that's being presented here is actually very simple. Who are you going to let own yours?